So here with the man himself, Mr. Electrician Muscle. All right.
What up, pimpin'?
All right. So what we got going on here, Mr. Electrician Muscle? What we got going on?
Bunch of dirt.
All right, cool. I got that.
Hole in dirt. This trench right here. This is about 18 inches deep right here.
What made you go 18 inches deep?
Because the code requires you to go anywhere 18 to 36 inches deep to get past the frost line. So
Frost line?
frost line is how far the ground will freeze down.
Frost line is how far the ground was. So it won't freeze past 18 inches down there?
It will. Well, it usually stops at 18, but it can go all the way down to 3 feet. That's why they require you to be within that range, 18 to 3 feet.
Okay.
So what you have laid in this trench is you have a 3/4 inch EMT and a 1/2 inch EMT. One's for low voltage, one for high voltage.
What's low voltage and what's high voltage?
Low voltage is more or less a signal wire. So for cameras, any kind of data boxes, phone lines, etc. By code, you cannot put low voltage in the same pipe as high voltage. Okay. And the second one is going to be for voltage that's going to power up the garage out there.
Which one of these pipes is low voltage? Which one high voltage?
That's contingent upon which ones you're going to use. I can, at this point, the 3/4 would be for the high voltage. The low voltage using Cat 5 or signal wire would be in this 1/2 inch, which is the smaller one, and the large one is 3/4 inch.
So I see you got the measurements here. You had to measure some stuff here to bend it, which you're gonna show us in a minute. And then you had to bend it here.
Yes.
And then right here was the tricky part, which I can't wait to get to. How'd you get this from here to there to touch against the wall without first? How we get that?
These are what we call offsets.
Offsets.
Offsets, yeah. Offsets is designed to go up and around obstructions, items that you don't want to necessarily take out, but you don't want to impact you from putting in your conduit piece of pipe. So here we have a 3/4 inch offset to a 90, which goes out. It's going to hit another 90 down there to go up into the garage. Okay. Same thing with the 1/2 inch. You have an offset to a 90. Offset comes to hit these couplings, which attaches another piece of pipe for the 3/4 and the 1/2 inch. You have two 90s on both the 3/4 and the 1/2. You have a offset. It's not really a 90 because it does not make a straight turn. It kind of comes out, and the reason it comes out a little further is behind here. You see I have two bolts. It's a 90 bracket, 90 degree bracket here. Then 90s down to these brick 90s. These brick 90s are open in the back. You can go on the side there, you see open there. And what will happen is I'll punch a hole through here. And for this 1/2 inch, punch a hole to meet conduit coming inside the basement.
Let's just say we're about to measure this right here. Like this, like to bend.
Let's start with the 3/4.
3/4.
Because sometimes some people learn it different ways. You learn it by degrees, you learn it by measurements. For me, I have found it easier. It's 3/4 inch bender.
3/4
the
inch.
size of this EMT pipe, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of people use this star as a mark. But the tricky part of that is each one of these lines represent a degree of the bend. So if you want it at a 30 degree or 45 degree, you use these lines here. I don't know if you see them lines that's engraved in there. To tell you what level or what degree that you actually at when you're bending.
So these are two different size. Pipe benders.
Yes, this is a 1/2 inch bender.
This is a 1/2 inch bender.
Yes, it's a 1/2 inch conduit bender, EMT bender. This is 3/4.
That's a 1/2 inch. This is the red one is a 1/2 inch.
3/4.
And 3/4 bender.
As I take my measurements, would be I'll measure using a measuring tape from here to here.
Okay.
So let's say I think this was like it was 32 inches. It says 46, but it was lowered in. It was a different pipe. But.
Okay.
So this is like 38 inches or something to that effect.
Okay.
So I make my mark on 38 inches on my piece of pipe.
All right, guys, so he decided to get the real measuring tape. You know, this is how professionals work around here. So you're gonna measure it. So you see, what you got right here?
That's gonna be 41 and a half. I'm gonna go 41 and a half inches.
41 and a half to that bend right there. And now I see You measuring? So you measuring the same length? You measure it
Yes.
on the wall?
Yes.
Well, on this pole thing?
Yes.
And you measuring out with a pencil? Okay.
41 and a half.
41 and a half inches.
Okay.
All right. Is the numbers on both sides or is it only on one?
It's on both sides. I use these arrows.
Okay.
Look, there's a better way you can do it. They figured out what works for you. The trick to bending conduit is what works for you.
Okay.
What you need to understand is tension. Always keep tension so that your pipe don't twist and bend on you. So I'm gonna go here. As I said, I'm gonna slide this back to where my 45 mark. I don't know if you see that mark.
That's it.
With this arrow. Okay, it might be just a little shot. Let me see. Okay. This be somewhere close. Keeping tension on that. I don't want my pipe to twist. So, go straight bend. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go a little less than that. See my line is dead center of my pipe.
The line right center of the bend there. Okay.
Okay. Now, the trick to these are, let me get a little more.
Okay.
So you can see it better.
All right. See the bend?
The difference is when you're using a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 inch.
So the difference is when you're using a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch?
Benders, yes. From 3/4 inch is different than a 1/2 inch. So what I did was I measured from here to where I want my 90 to be.
You measure
I went from
here?
the center of my coupling
Okay.
over to where I want my bend to be.
Okay.
And that was 10 inches.
Okay.
Now, unlike the 1/2 inch bender, if you put your 10 inch there, you're gonna make it longer, okay? You're gonna make it too long. So my suggestion would be, and it works for me, is I take my measurement back and then I subtracted 3.5 inches. So instead of my measurement, even though I wanted 10 inches to my bend, from my coupling to my bend is 10 inches. Because this is 3/4 inch pipe, which is a bigger pipe, you have to subtract 3.5 inches from my measurement. So my measurement was 10 inches. You take 3.5 inches off that, and that gives you 6.5 inches.
Why you subtract the 3 inches?
Because you have to account for the actual bend for it to turn to where it's got to get there to meet that corner. And this is what you see here. The reason it's not up against the wall is because one, this coaxial has a staple in it, which I can pull it out at some point. I'm not gonna do it now, and then it goes to my brick 90, which will push this. If you look from the side, once I drill my hole, then this brick 90 will recess into the brick and it'll lay flat against the brick. But the key is for me, some people, they use different measurements, but I've always found that subtracting 3.5 inches off of your original measurements will put your bend exactly where you want it to be. Now, if you're a little unsure about it, go 4 inches, subtract 4 inches. And you'll see that there's room to move the pipe back should I need to, but I didn't have to in this instance. I just came and made this bend directly because there's 2 bolts back there, so I had to miss them bolts. So I couldn't go all the way from here
To the wall.
with my measurement. I had to go from here to the thread of this first bolt up here. So that's where my measurement came, from the top of this thread to the center of the coupling.